Hi everyone, I'm Modern Mulan. Welcome to another episode of IC Stories. So this is episode 45. We're going to be talking about ICP CC. So some of you may be familiar with our guest tonight dahil naging bisita na po natin siya sa previous episode natin, no? But today we're going to be talking about a whole new thing, so it's going to be exciting. And as usual, you guys know the drill. At the end of the AMA, we'll be picking 5 of the best community questions. And of course, meron po tayong ICP rewards para sa inyo. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Scout Martin, hello. Attendance check. Thank you so much for being here. Ayan, yes, sabi ni Scout Martin, si Sir Isaac ulit. Correct. It's been a long time, no? Honestly, I was trying to think, kailan ba yun? But the thing is, with our space, parang ang daming nangyayari. So, minsan ilang months pa lang, in my head, parang ilang years na siya. So yeah, I'm so excited, always so happy to have guests coming back and talking about, either progress na naging projects nila o kaya naman what they're currently working on, which is the case for, again, this episode or this episode's guest. Hala, hindi pa ako nag-dinner. Pasensya na po. Johan, thank you so much for being here. Espeso, of course. Hello. John Clint Villanueva. And of course, isa sa mga suki natin, Esther Z, ICP. Thank you so much for being here. So, as you guys can notice, tayo po ay solo flight today kasi si Sir Nelson is at a different event, which we'll also be going to maya-maya. So if you still want to say hi, send him some love, you are free to do so, especially sa mga team replay natin dyan. Alright, wag na nating pahabain pa. Let's call in our guest, Sir Isaac. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? It's great to be on the show again.
I know, I'm good. I'm so excited to talk to you again. I was talking to you earlier. I miss the little guy behind you. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I changed locations, and I don't have my little mini-me over my shoulder for the moment, but I think when I get my new office settled, maybe I will.
On the next interview,
Of
we'll
course,
have
of
him
course.
back. Yeah. So how are you? I know you've already introduced yourself before, but can you kindly reintroduce yourself for our new viewers?
Perfect. Yeah. So my name's Isaac Valadez. I've been a builder in the ICP ecosystem for, so at least 2 years before finally getting to join full-time at Code and State. And Code and State is a venture studio focused on the ICP ecosystem. We're a little bit like the consensus of ICP. We're focused on building ventures, both internal ventures that are like a talent agency, the first code auditing agency, the first boot camp, and the first conference series. And we're also looking to accelerate external ventures through our accelerator program. And I'm the venture lead, so I basically run the day-to-day of the entire venture studio, and I get to interface with the leads for each one of our current ventures. And I kind of have the coolest job in the world. I think of myself as I'm basically like an entrepreneurial mercenary. My boss says, "Go start a company that does this," and I just start a company that does that, and that's what I do for a living.
I love that. You are probably the most productive person I know. Because like
Thank
code
you.
and state sounds like a lot, especially when you're handling the day to day. But you also founded ICPCC, am I right?
Yeah, so by the way, Code and State's only 8 people, but we do keep busy. So we have 4 brands, and ICP CC, which stands for ICP Community Conference, is one of them. And in fact, I think one of the times I was on your show, I think I've been on a couple times, it was to talk about the event last year, the ICP CC event
correct.
last year, which was great and its own thing. That was kind of a traditional conference format, 2 days, and a skyscraper in Miami is honestly one of the top highlights of my career. Is extremely meaningful. It was, you do all the stuff to make an event, but it's the people that make it special. And I gotta say, our community is unmatched. It's absolutely wonderful. So yeah,
I agree. I echo that. So there are so many events that you can go to, but what matters really is not just the agenda, but the people who are attending. And well, obviously we've been to many, and I feel like what's special with the ICP community is that it's different. The energy is different. It's always just so much fun, and I love it. So I know you talked about last year's ICPCC. Can you walk us through how it has grown since our last conversation?
Well, it's grown quite a bit, and this year is different. In fact, I refer to it as ICP CC because I don't even like the word conference in there. It's a very different event. And it's actually inspired a little bit by our last conversation on this show, because you
Oh,
and Nelson were like, man, we so wish that we could go. And there's no way to put a physical location event in one area that it
mhm.
fits for everybody, that's accessible to everybody who loves ICP. And
Yeah.
so we're thinking to ourselves, how can we keep that in-person component while making this accessible to everyone who loves ICP everywhere in the world all at once? Because like Web3, the beautiful thing in my mind about Web3 is that it brings people together. Like I have the
Yeah.
privilege of talking to people of different races, religions, and backgrounds, and none of that matters. Nothing that divides us matters. We're all here to build a better and fairer world using tech that we're passionate about. And right now, today, I think that the most important thing is bringing people together, right?
Mhm.
So we designed an entirely new type of hybrid event. I've actually never seen anything in Web3 like it. Gosh, we're less than 48 hours away, so it's going to be a blast. But basically, I think you're part of the partners that is helping with a
Mhm.
pre-party out of the Yuku Metaverse. So
Yes. Very
there's going to
exciting.
be a very exciting pre-party for the Asia Pacific time zones, and then we're kicking off a 9-hour live stream, and this is all May 10th, so that's a Friday, so it's Friday afternoon in the European time zones. We're kicking it off, and then we're concluding it in that is the same Friday afternoon in the USA time zones, 9 hours later. So that's 9 solid hours of content, and I can go through a couple stats that we're going to be tweeting out later today, if that's okay.
Yes, please. We'd love to hear it. But I just want to
Perfect.
comment. You guys took global events so seriously. Like you just mastered so hard at it. I love it. Love the energy. Okay, go ahead. Talk about the
Thank
tweets.
you, thank you. Oh yeah, and then the part I missed is that we're gonna have meetup watch parties hosted by various different community members and
Oh,
brands in major cities all over the world. So we've got like some in Africa that have this, like one that has 300 people in Africa. And
wow.
then some are small pizza parties with universities. They're all different kinds. We've got it from Berlin. I'm gonna be hosting one in Austin.
Uh-huh.
So there's all kinds of like in-person watch party events, and that's the in-person side where you get to meet people. And then there's the global side that everybody gets to partake in, that's accessible to everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
And during the 9 hours, we have 41 airdrops from 17 different ICP projects, all kinds of ICP projects,
Oh,
everything from OpenChat, ICP Swap, IC Lighthouse, Decide AI, Nuance, Catalyze, Kinnick, Trax, Curio, VaultBet. ICP Sneed is launching a new meme token, a DAO launched meme token.
yeah.
Ghost, Clown, Windows, iDodes, and Dragon Eyes. All of them are dropping
That's a
tokens.
lot. I
Um,
must feel amazing to have all sorts of those projects participate and just support, right?
oh gosh, we have like 50 plus projects involved. It's going to be really great. And this is a $100,000 we're guesstimating
Yeah.
in tokens given out. And
Wow.
there's going to be roughly a drop every 15 minutes if you do the math, even on
Nice.
average. So, but this is going to be ICP. This event is not just for us who are already involved in ICP to celebrate. It's actually more a call to action for us to help
Mhm.
onboard people. The event is not going to teach you a lot about ICP you don't already know. It's actually going to be giving you the resources to share ICP with a digestible message to the rest of the wider Web3
That's what
community.
we need. Let's be real.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what we need.
And our inspiration was Genesis, because most of the people in the
Uh-huh.
ecosystem learned about ICP through the amazing
Yeah.
Genesis launch. But we're 3 years down the road, and now we've got a lot to show off and a lot to celebrate. And
Hmm.
as part of that, we thought, all right, how many great like little promo videos do you see for ICP
Hmm.
projects? It's almost none, right?
Yeah.
Well, during this event, we're going to be premiering, and we did this. We actually made these for free for whatever project ICP projects asked for them. 36 project showcases. So like
Wow.
all of the top projects within the whole ecosystem, they're all going to have these like less than a minute long, like 1 to 2 minute long, nice promo videos with showing how their DApp works. Like the one from OpenChat, it looks like it could be on TV. I love it. They did a really great job. There's all kinds of like some of the bigger brands made their own, like Nuance and OpenChat and a few.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of them, like we used our own resources to create one just for them. And then we didn't brand it so that they could use it on their own websites after this event.
That's
And
amazing.
it's like really, we use this event as an excuse to make all the content everybody wishes that they had for
Yeah.
the ecosystem, right?
Love to hear it.
And then we've got around 4 hours of the 9-hour live stream is hot,
Mhm.
brand new content from 14 content creators. So we have some
Oh.
broader Web3 content creators like Crypto Wendy Yo, where I
Uh-huh.
kind of like, it's almost like an unboxing of ICP because she didn't know a ton about it. So like I'm interviewing her and like I'm helping her learn about it, and she's like learning about it during her own
Oh,
spot.
that's
So it's like really
cool.
neat.
Yeah.
And then we also have a lot of most of them are going to be native ICP content creators. So like William
Mhm.
Lorette is releasing 2 brand new songs. They're really goofy and cheesy, and I love them.
Oh, that's so
Um,
fun.
so yeah, no, I mean it's gonna be wild. I think. Oh yeah, and then last but not least, Real Six Figs. He's actually releasing a straight up mini documentary on the FTX scandal called Cracking FTX. It's a 31-minute long mini docu-series.
Will it
It's
be
even been,
launched tomorrow during
yes, it's
the?
gonna be launched during the live
Oh, that's
stream.
cool.
It's gonna be premiering, and then it'll pop up on his channel later. And yeah, we got that published by Cointelegraph. In fact, this morning. So yeah, I mean, from this point today, things are just ramping off, and they're not going to slow down, and it's gonna be a
Yeah.
blast.
I mean, that sounds very exciting. It's a lot, but it's presented in a manner where it's not intimidating, and I feel like we need that in this space because usually with Web3 events are so technical to serious. So having these sorts of events that are online, but also have like um, localized in real life events to support, and having that variety of content, not only
Mhm.
for the projects, but about the ecosystem with the songs and the docu. I think that's very, very interesting. Something that, like you said, we haven't really seen in a while. So I'm so excited for this. Scout Martin is asking, how can we support and join ICPCC virtually?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and like I said, I think that for what I guess the message I want to get across is if you love ICP, this is both a holiday and a call to action. The best way you can
Uh-huh.
support us is by sharing the content as much as possible. I mean, we calculated out a bunch of strategies, and we are working with major publishers. But the
Uh-huh.
best strategy I think is we all still have. A few Web3 friends that we bug them about ICP, but they're not like into it. They're into their own thing. The message of this whole conference is it's okay if you're an ETH maxi, it's okay if you're a Bitcoin maxi. ICP has value to offer what you already love about Web3, and it's worth paying attention to. And so you can show them, hey, look, there are thousands of people all over the world celebrating this tech. Here's we have a 7-minute animated explainer video that breaks down why ICP is alien tech. And
Yeah.
but you have all these new tools and content. So just basically, let's just tear up the algorithm on social by sharing this like we're nutcases, and let's make noise. And just within our own network, within our own reach as individual community members, if we each bug those friends all at
The
the same
ripple
time,
effect is just crazy.
yeah, it's the network effect. It's like we're all at the
Yeah.
same time unanimously going to be reaching out to our network. And so if they have that, if that person has been like not having a time to think about ICP deeply, if they have like 2 or 3 people and then they go on social and they see it 2 or 3 times, like it's really going to be
You're gonna
inundating them.
read it, right? It's
Exactly.
like
We're making noise for the ecosystem.
exactly.
So that's the call to action. Make as much noise as you possibly can, because it's not even our event. It's not Cone State's event anymore. And we'll get on into that in a little bit. But
I do
this
want
is
to
about
ask
all of
you
us.
about that. That is interesting because there's this tweet that we'll talk about it later. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Um, um, so you mentioned that you guys created. There's a project showcase, right? And you created videos for them, and you have all these content showcasing or launching tomorrow. But will there be speakers, presenters, like the regular convention format?
Not as much. Most like because of the nature of this event and that it's onboarding, we really don't get too technical.
Hmm.
And we, like the normal conference, somebody gets on stage and shows off how much of a thought leader they are with like a 20-minute
Yeah.
like thing. We
Hmm.
didn't want talking heads in this. We wanted a lot of. We're gonna have live MCs with a professional studio and cameraman and all of that. But most,
Oh, I saw the
uh,
setup. It looks
oh yeah,
very
thanks.
good.
Um,
Yeah.
but most of this is pre-recorded, and it's pre-recorded on purpose so that we have all these it's going to take us weeks and weeks, and we don't own
Yeah.
all of the content. But the idea is we collect a bunch of bite-sized, nicely edited videos that answer just about any question or
Yes.
thought you could have about the ecosystem. So there will be some longer bits of content, but those would be rare. The agenda, we have a very detailed agenda breaking down everything. I mean, we have at least over 100 pieces of content, and there's 180 line items on that agenda. I mean, it is like
A lot.
it's minute, like most of the content is averaging about 3 minutes. So you're not standing there watching someone talk for more than 3 minutes most of the time. It's going to be like a 15-minute segment will be like 4 different videos and an airdrop, basically.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really dynamic for 9 straight hours. In fact, we're oversubscribed right now. Last I checked, we're 20 minutes over. So we have plenty of content.
I mean, I think you described it best. It's going to be more dynamic. Also, the great thing about having everything recorded is you make sure that there's no dead air, and everyone just sticks to the time frame that they're given, so that you can highlight as many projects as you can. So I think that's a really smart way to go about it. So now this is obviously like such a huge scale. I mean, planning it must have been so crazy. So how can you ensure that everyone's engaged? I know you have the real life events, but for the people joining online, will they be able to chat during the live stream? Is there how can people talk during the event?
Yeah, so I think the main interactivity point is called the Galactic Airdrop DApp. So the way it works is you'll get an airdrop alert on the screen during the live stream, and it'll have a code. And that will be only on screen for 13 seconds. You got it. So you may be on your window or on another window on your phone. You enter in the code that you see as quick as you can. And I think you have like roughly a few minutes to enter the right code. And everybody who enters will win something, even if it's just basically what do they call it? Dust. You're winning some type of tokens. The idea is we want to get tokens in as many hands of new people as possible, so you have an excuse to get stuck into the ecosystem, get a wallet, all of that good stuff. And then inside of that whole experience, there's a link to live chat that goes to a Telegram group where everybody in the stream can be talking.
And just
exactly. And then there'll be various partners. I don't know the full details, but this is really, it's kind of a decentralized event already, like from how it's orchestrated. All the partners are doing their own thing. So like maybe Open Chat will have a chat directly about this. And then there'll be there's already like different meetups in person. That every meetup is different. Like, for example, there's one in Portugal by Rent Space. They're an NFT collection, and they're building like kind of like a Airbnb for crypto. And so they've got this NFT collection with villas. So they rented a real life mansion, a real life villa to have their meetup in. And then
that is so extra.
I know, yeah. So like every meetup has its own vibe, and those are like another fun experience. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get involved. But I think that even if you aren't able to make an in-person meetup, it's going to be fun. And then of course there's interactivity in the airdrop app. There's thanks to our partner Bionic, and this is a bit of a surprise we just announced recently. And I'm so excited about this one. There's this little egg that you'll see. And that is a brand new NFT collection, and it can only mature and grow during this event. So the more when you enter it, when you enter any valid airdrop code, there's like a 20% chance it'll evolve, and it can evolve up to 5 levels. And then after that, it's a dynamic ordinal NFT. So you evolve it during the event as high as you can, and then it's minted and sent to you. It's a dynamic ordinal on the Bionic platform, and you can mint it to you can inscribe it to the Bitcoin blockchain later. So everybody gets a starter egg, and if you and if you watch and you keep entering codes, you might be able to evolve it, but you have only one chance. It's during this event.
Whose idea was this? Like, that is so crazy smart. Like, such a the codes were interesting already, but hearing about the NFT thing and possibly evolving it through participating. Whose idea was this? They need a race. That's cool. I feel like it's not going to be long until everyone just adopts that idea. That's so amazing. So exciting for especially the viewers. Yeah. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty, because I wanna help me understand this, because I'm not a very technical person, but I do know that you guys have a launch, the SNS DAO. What is all of that like for someone like me? How can you explain it in the most simple terms possible? What is it? What do I need to know? Why do I need to know this?
Yeah. I mean, in the simplest terms, it is a a community conference that's literally owned by the community that it celebrates, and using Web3 tech in a way that really only ICP can. It's called an off-chain DAO, and what that doesn't mean that it exists off-chain. All of the proposals and the treasury, all of that is still on-chain. But it's called off-chain because I think the most famous example and one of the most famous DAOs ever is Constitution DAO. They raised $47 million to bid on a live real world auction.
Yeah.
And so they're one of the most famous DAOs. And the idea is really, it just means it's a DAO that exists that's not just focused on a single software product. Like a lot of DAOs, they're just focused on a particular DApp and that's it.
Yeah.
This is basically focused on running and managing an event series. So it uses the SNS treasury, it uses the SNS proposal system and tokenomic like distribution system, all the great things about the SNS. It creates a new use case for that. And we're marrying it with a Marshall Islands DAO LLC. And some people are like,
but it's fully independent, right? It's not.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually have the founder of the Marshall Islands LLC. He's going to be in the live stream explaining all of this, which is an honor because he's a leader in the industry. But basically, like first off, I'll explain two quick things because I learned a lot, and I didn't know why a DAO would want to be a legal wrap at all. But the first reason is liability protection. So I didn't know this, but let's say a DAO does something illegal. And a country can just declare, oh, you're this type of entity. You all owe taxes and you're supposed to KYC. We're going to have a court date. No one shows up to the court date. They make a judgment, right? What a judgment will follow around all of the identifiers associated with the DAO, anybody's crypto address. If anybody can be identified at any point, they're liable for the full judgment. They don't go to court. They're guilty immediately. So you can have, it's literally happened where people have been identified because maybe they registered like a .eth domain a year later with their real name. And they're just like are given a summons and like they owe $1 million because a DAO that they were associated with got legal action against it. And like that's terrifying.
That is crazy. You've unlocked a new fear out of me. No,
exactly. I mean, same thing when I learned. It's like they can do that, and it's just like they can. Like you're not safe with pseudo anonymity. Like they can find if you ever post your identifier anywhere on social or whatever, and they can identify you and connect you, then you're liable for what that DAO did.
Scary.
And so a legal wrapper says, oh, we're declared in this jurisdiction, this is who we are, and we're not in your jurisdiction, and we have legal liability protection, right? So that's one great thing. The other thing that I think is just mind-blowingly cool is it's called corporate personhood. Basically, the DAO, when it chooses...
Sorry, what is it? Corporate personhood?
Corporate personhood, yeah.
Okay.
So the DAO, when it chooses to pass a proposal, it's like a person that's different than any of its members. A legal person has made that choice and is responsible for that choice. No human can be held liable for what this DAO as its own distinct entity has chosen to do. And it can own intellectual property. It can hire and fire people. If somebody sues it, it can hire a lawyer to defend itself. If somebody infringes on its copyright, it can hire a lawyer to sue them.
So like a separate entity, like
exactly, So it's not. It doesn't need any agents. It doesn't need any liaisons or like you don't have to give a board control. Like most other entities, you have to give a board control. But no, it is its own on-chain. Like legally on the documentation, it recognizes the SNS. It mentions the SNS in there, and it has the canister IDs for the NNS and everything because the on-chain decisions are what legally matters. And so, like one of the cool things is. We started this whole registering with Marshall Islands, and since then, 4 other DAOs in the ecosystem are now going to be registering with Marshall Islands. Whenever a DAO registers, the ICP CC DAO LLC is an affiliate. The corporate entity is an affiliate So
Yeah.
they get a 10% discount, and a 10% referral fee is sent to the DAO's treasury, which just
Oh,
blows
that's
my mind.
smart.
I'm
That's
like,
smart.
that's so cool to think that a DAO like is like earning affiliate income. Like what?
Yeah,
Yeah, this opens up a lot of really cool possibilities. And then we
for
invented
sure.
at least 3 or 4 different unique things that I hope become a cool blueprint, including the leadership structure. But I don't want to go into too far. I mean, you can ask about that or whatever you want to ask next. But
Actually,
yeah.
I was gonna ask about that because I read something about there's gonna be a council, right?
Mhm.
But can you walk me through what are the responsibilities of the ICP CC Council? What are the responsibilities, the limitations? Because, like you said, it's not owned by you, like your tweet. It's not owned by you. It's not owned by Code and State. It's a community project still, but we still do have that ICP CC Council, right? So, can you walk us through that responsibilities and limitations?
Exactly. Yeah. So, in fact, this is actually the first venture to spin out from Code and State's portfolio. It's completely separate from us, and it doesn't have like the traditional or standard core team in the sense of like a lot of SNS DAOs or DAOs in general are really just funding mechanisms for an existing team to kind of do that. No, this is a new person that was born, and it's going to do whatever it decides to do. I can't even set a roadmap for it. So
Yeah.
there's an on-chain constitution that the DAO can amend at any time.
Okay.
And there is nobody is on the council at first, but we did. There
Not
will
even
be,
you.
not even me, and I would actually not be joining the council because I think it's important that for it to just live on past everything. Yeah, I'm too opinionated and too involved. I wrote the initial draft of the Constitution, so I'm actually on purpose not going to apply. But we do have someone already set up to apply to be an interim council member to kind of handle the logistics of making sure that the light paper stuff gets implemented, like liquidity being added and stuff like that. But anyways, the council, it was kind of me going through and thinking, because there's a problem with DAOs. Either you have no leadership whatsoever, and then the DAO is kind of just this directionless
Flailing about it. Yeah.
It's not really efficient or effective. It's not really kept on track. Nobody knows who's worth listening to, right?
Yeah.
And then if you have like one small group that has perfect control over everything, well, what's the point of being a DAO? Like that's
Exactly.
the whole
Beats the purpose. Yeah.
Beats the purpose. So I was thinking the best compromise would be if nobody is granted authority. Like most other DAOs, they grant authority. It's like, okay, we'll give this person decision-making power or whatever. Instead of granting authority, we just hire people. We hire a team to make proposals that keep the DAO on track. And so those proposals from that team can be considered a little bit more legitimate, just like the proposals of a core team. But each individual member is completely expendable. They can be hired and fired and replaced, and they're accountable for what they do, and they have no authority to act on behalf of the DAO. So that's what this council is. Is basically it's going to be a paid role because they're not volunteers. We want top people of the ICP ecosystem. It could be anyone out there who's made significant contributions to the ecosystem, who says, I think I want to do this and I want to take on this role.
Yeah.
And then you're just another normal member of the DAO. You'll have no extra rights, but you have a responsibility, a job you're being paid for, of making proposals that are high quality, that keep the DAO on track with its goals. And if you don't do that, guess what? A proposal will fire you, and you will get fired. And so we even added, and I won't go into the details, but there's going to be something called a voting power proxy canister that basically makes it so that they can't even extend their influence to try to keep themselves on the council if they're being voted off, or to get their friends voted on. It limits their influence and adds extra protections on top of the existing liquid democracy stuff built into the SNS without replacing that. So, I mean, this is a massive constitution that was written, over 5,000 words.
Did you write all of them? You did.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's because, and I think it's cool. It's like this is not going to be I was writing with the knowledge that this could possibly outlive me. And it's not going to be my project. Like it's going to just it's going to be what it is after this. So it was a chance to man, what would be the thing that I wish I could see from DAOs on the SNS? What is the most ideal thing? Like, what are the problems or the frustrations I've had? And so I'm just a DAO nerd, and I got to pour all my heart and soul into that document to try to make what I hope becomes a new blueprint for DAOs across Web3 in general. And all of this is being published right now by multiple publishers. So we're putting ICP on the map, because like all of this can't really be feasibly done on any other chain. And because of ICP's tech, I mean, the only fee that legally needs to be paid is $5,000 per year every January 1st, a registration fee to the government of the Marshall Islands, and it can be paid with USDC on Ethereum. And so
that's cool.
I'm pretty sure that this DAO, because of ChainKey, will be able to pay its own yearly registration, its own like pay the government what it owes. And like how nerdy and awesome! No custodians or agents, whatever, and it can fully function and host events and hire vendors to organize the events and all of that good stuff.
I love that it marries two ideas, having that kind of freedom that we love, and the freedom of innovation that we love and care about in Web3, but also the structure that it needs. Because you're right. I think most DAOs fail or aren't able to reach their full potential because of two things. Either they have no control at all, they just flail about, like you said, they're just like directionless. And then the second one is that others are too tight, and it's like it doesn't feel Web3 anymore. It's too controlled, too governed, and it's not community centered. And again, it beats the purpose. So I feel like having the council make proposals, and then correct me if I'm wrong. So the council will make the proposals, and then basically the community decides which proposal they're going to be implementing or trashing. Correct?
Exactly.
Or improving.
Exactly.
I think that's powerful.
Yeah, yeah, and like one of my favorite protections is this VP proxy canister. It doesn't exist yet, but it's going to be something that I have. I can just drop it now, I guess.
Yes, please.
The creator of the SNS, his name is David Alves. He literally led the teams that created the NNS and the SNS. And he's going to be submitting a proposal to create this VP proxy canister that then, once it's created, any DAO or anybody in the ecosystem can use. But what it's going to do is it's going to create its own neuron. So it's basically like a neuron that follows rules set by the DAO that no one can change. And people can follow that neuron instead of following the council members directly. And what it does is my favorite feature is delayed voting applications. So if you follow somebody on normal liquid democracy on an SNS or the NNS today, as soon as they vote, you immediately vote. So like you might not have even seen a proposal or anything. They could vote within a couple minutes of it being put up. You never saw anything.
And then it's done. Yeah.
And it's done. So with this canister will watch what the council members vote on, and then delay to the very last hour of the voting period before applying that, so that the proposal period is a week long. So so as long as you check proposals once a week, you will always have a chance to veto whatever the council is doing.
Oh, that's interesting. I think that's another innovation that you guys are doing. You're right. Like sometimes they would just post them, and then you don't even have a chance to like digest everything. You're like, oh, I have to like vote or whatever. Yeah. So I think it also, not only does it give time for people to actually see it, but for people to think about how they envision it going. So I think that's a pretty interesting one. And so with the changes that you guys are doing with that, the delayed voting, with the council, obviously you are addressing current problems within DAOs right now, right? So Joko Jambi is asking, aside from those challenges or hurdles that you guys saw and are addressing now, are there any challenges that you're currently dealing with?
So I have to pick which one. I mean, it's a massive undertaking. But I mean, I ended my 20-hour workday yesterday, 4 hours ago.
20-hour workday.
Well, it is like really close up to the event. I think the biggest challenge actually has been just the fact of bringing everyone together. So one of my skills, like I had when I was growing up, let's just say I got used to dealing with very irrational people. And that's part of like what I had to learn in life. And that's given me kind of this I'm a Christian, and it's called a spiritual gift of being a peacemaker, right? So I have this. I really, it's on my personal life. I thought that this would not apply to my professional life. Like, how does being a peacemaker matter within Web3? It turns out that's been one of the most important skills that I've brought to the table in my career so far, because lo and behold, trustless tech attracts a lot of people who have trust issues, and just getting just getting like the sheer amount of people that we have willing to associate their brands and their names with one event
Yeah.
means like I've had to personally behind the scenes like resolve like 5 different feuds.
Yeah.
Just it's like herding cats.
I mean, I
Getting,
bet you have like fires to put out every single day.
yeah. But those are the ones I guess that for me are the most meaningful because like
Uh-huh.
it kind of feels rewarding to be like, all right, it's been a pain, it's been a headache. I think it takes the energy out of some people, but to know that oh, these 2 influencers are talking again, or
Yeah,
whatever
for
it is,
sure. Uh-huh.
and really just that I think that's one of the hardest things. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of trolls in our ecosystem, and they don't mean to be.
Mhm.
The thing is, I don't think anybody means to be a troll. Like we all get hurt sometimes in Web3, especially because things get crazy and there are
Yeah.
a lot of scams.
Mhm.
So just trying to like being understanding and being that person who's able to build connections and not break
Uh-huh.
them and inspire that in others has
Yeah.
been I think the innate biggest. I don't think there's a lot of organizations that could have logistically pulled this off for that
Mhm.
reason alone. It's just
Yeah.
really hard.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And that's a very interesting take because I never really thought about, being a peacemaker, be a professional skill that you might be sharing. But yeah, I agree that there are a lot of bad actors in the space, which kind of validates why other users, especially the new ones, have trust issues or are very skeptical. But I feel like initially they should be asking questions. I think that's a better route to go rather than just saying yes, or just supporting blindly, right? And I feel like having someone like you, a leader like you, peacefully answering those and making sure everything's addressed. No, being able to acknowledge that there's a problem and finding a calm and proper manner in addressing it is very helpful. So thank you so much for answering that. Very insightful. And thank you, Joko Jambi, for sending that in. Now, you mentioned the impact that that you're very mindful of, like, oh, those 2 influencers are talking again, right? The
Mhm.
long-term impact. So jumping off of that, what strategies are in place to measure long-term impact that ICPCC is going to leave, aside from the personal relationships that you are building for the DAO itself, for ICPCC itself? What are the metrics of success that you have?
Yeah, of course. And here I get to share some numbers that just to be fully transparent. So
Mhm.
um, the way that event series works, and like we're very tactical. Like every eventer, like we research the industry, we ask other people and everything. So
Yeah.
typically a conference series brand is not profit making until its
Mhm.
3rd event. And
Uh-huh.
we've hosted the first 2. So that
Uh-huh.
by the next event, which will be hosted by a DAO, it should be profitable
Uh-huh.
from day one. That's the ultimate goal, and
Mhm.
I believe that's going to be possible because it's a lot easier. I think it's going to be easier for this DAO to like raise sponsorships, for example, because it can go to another SNS, and people are just going to feel like I think more comfortable just providing money to an open source, open community project,
Yeah.
to be run in a very transparent way. But we've put in about $300,000 into. I mean, that's the estimate that I give. That's on the low conservative end,
Yeah.
because like the kind that if I ever needed to, I'm sure I can justify on just the
Yeah.
last year's event and this year event. Last year's event was like in a skyscraper in Miami. It was not cheap, and
Uh-huh.
uh, and then this year is we spent a ton on marketing. So yeah, like we put $300,000 into this venture. Its next event should be the event where it not only pays back the initial investment but starts to generate cash flow.
Yeah.
And the idea is it really came down to the answer of the big question of like, how does ICP get awareness and how can the community be a part of that? How can there be some type of marketing DAO people are talking about? You can't just do that though, because then if you spend all the money, well, what are the people who contributed to that DAO get back
Yeah.
for the token? How does it refill? This event series, it provides a normal like conference series business model to be
Yeah.
sustainable. So like every dollar it spends is for promoting ICP as a whole, but
Mhm.
there's also income coming in through sponsorships and ticket sales and merch
Yeah.
sales, and that refills the treasury so that you have more. And we want to see this snowball like the SNS. We haven't gone to the SNS tokenomics and numbers, but the minimum raise is 1 ICP, And that's because, you know, even if it raises a little bit of money, it should be able to use sponsorships to fund a pretty decent sized event next. And of course, if it raises more, then it gives the DAO more to work with. I mean, I would love to see a 2,000 person event in Portugal that lasts 4 days and is massive. Like I believe we deserve that. Like NearCon last year had 2,000 people in Portugal. And I was kind of annoyed. I was like, why does Near, like at that point, they were like number 30 in CoinMarketCap. They're way below us. It's like, why are they getting bigger events than us? ICP is so much more cool. Like we should have, you know, the big events. And I'm hoping that this becomes the community's way.
The jumpstart for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like how cool would it be to have like an 8-year Neuron VIP lounge where you have to prove you have an 8-year Neuron to be able to get to the gate, and like
imagine how cool would that be?
A conf token Neuron after party. And you know, like the DAO can do whatever it wants, you know, and so yeah, I'm really I think the way you measure success is the treasury growing or not. And I think that's something that sadly a lot of SNSs haven't been talking about. They talk about how they're going to spend the treasury, how they're going to refill it. This one, I want to see it. I would personally hope to see it being refilled, basically from event one.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, not a lot of people talk about it. So one of the tweets also, if you don't mind me sharing, walk us through this one. So in this tweet, you were providing clarity, like Code and State Treasury gets 4%. Wait, let me share it and then walk us through the tokenomics. How is it going to be? Because you want it to be sustainable, right? For like it can be self-sustaining. So walk us through this one. Let me just pop it up on screen. Here, is it showing?
Oh yeah. That's somebody was asking questions about the tokenomics. So you know, we put a lot of it into this, but we also want to make sure that nobody, like the Code State itself, didn't come away with too high of an allocation. So the Code State Treasury only has 4%, and then there's Code State itself was funded by 12 investors in the ICP ecosystem, and I don't think I'm supposed to. I don't really know. I also haven't asked my boss whether I'm supposed to tell who they are, so I'm just not going to by default. But like you know who they are. Like basically. The people who have helped fund your favorite projects, the people who are really like they're just as much ICP nerds as everybody else. They just happen to be a little wealthier. Like they're the ones that this will be going to, and they each individually split to 16%. And then there's a group of 4 individuals that help make ICPs possible, who split at 2%. So all collectively, that is 22%, which when you add together the angel investments plus the team allocations of any other SNS, are typically in that range or higher. And all of that 22% is the same exact vesting schedule as everybody who participates in the swap sale. So you know, like 20% will be locked for 2 years, 20% will be unlocked, and in 6 months between that it goes through. And then I did notice after we had published, I think one of the upcoming DAOs that attempted to launch, I'm not sure if it's Flip DAO or Taco DAO, they're going to, I think they hit 43% is going to the swap sale, but as of now, we're the record at 41%, 41%, at 41%, we're the record. So 41% of the sale goes to the swap sale participants directly, which is the biggest up to this point.
That's incredible.
And then we came up with a new thing, which I think we'll see a lot. It's called a 4% early bird bonus is being added to that. Now, what that is this? So I've always wondered, and I'm sure you've noticed that the whales tend to invest. I'm not going to use the word invest. Contribute to an SNS. The whales contribute to an SNS like at the last minute, right before it ends.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would I do that? And then it turns out it's a very obvious answer when you think about it. The less is raised, the more tokens they get, native tokens they get back for ICP spent. So they have an incentive to try to minimize the overall raise. And so to reverse this,
I don't think that's good.
No, I don't think it's good either, right? So I was like, it's like, how can we get rid of this for future SNS launches? So I came up with this, and basically the first 80,000 ICP sent to the raise is traceable on the ledger, right? So we can airdrop extra conf token to the first 80,000 ICP contributed, whether you contributed just one of those ICPs or 5,000, whatever it is. And that's 4% of the supply. That's actually a pretty
That's
significant
big.
bonus.
Uh-huh.
So it basically means that the incentive is inverse, and everybody is collectively like given the motivation to
Yeah.
to get in sooner. And it's fair. It's I think some projects, they might go to whales behind the scenes and be like, hey, maybe we'll give you some extra tokens if you get in early. But
Yeah.
no, the offers should be available to everybody equally,
Mhm.
regardless of how much money they have or how much ICP they have.
Yeah.
And
I
so
agree.
that's a new thing, and I think that's really neat. And then 4% is the community airdrop, which some of that will be distributed to people who attended last year's conference, and
Uh-huh.
then
Oh, that's cool. So
and then
if you attend, sorry to cut you off. So
no,
if you've been attending like ICPCC events, so like perpetually every time you have airdrops, you'll receive some, right?
well, last year they all got these badges that are integral badges, and they have an
Oh, that's
NFT
cute.
built into them that we can trace.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, these are pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
And so they're going to get a distribution. All of this is laid out in the light paper. And then this year, there will be a few ways. So if the meetup organizers get a little bit, a couple of the people who helped with like the larger content creators get a little bit, very little bit actually. And then if you attend a meetup in person, we're going to provide a way so that you actually get an allocation. And then if you on the Galactic airdrop, if you enter a certain number, I think it's like either 5, 3, or I think it's 5 valid codes, then you get an allocation there too. And the one on the codes during the live stream and the ones in the in-person meetups, they can stack. And
that's cool.
So you can't really, like, the token doesn't exist yet. But so you can't really know exact valuations. But let's say that it raises its max, which is 160,000 ICP, that the max is hit, which is a pretty low max considering most SNSs. And then they add LP at that range. That means that the total 4% drop could be worth $330,000.
That is wild. That's huge.
So, yeah. And so it's going to be, I mean, really, this event, you're not just attending it. Everybody is taking it over. The community is literally like hijacking and taking over ownership and control, and like it's happening. It's nothing like it has ever been done, and I don't really think anything like it could easily be redone. This is the first of its kind on so many categories. It's really the thing to get involved with, I'd say.
It has its own life, definitely. I want to just give context to everyone watching, spending time with us, how crazy the meetups are. Like, this is all of it, right?
Yeah. I think that's that should be all of them. Unless I missed
crazy. I mean, that's so many cities. And the thing is, this is just your second event, right?
Yeah. I think that the third event will be the first event hosted by the DAO. I think it's going to be massive.
Even bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Even bigger than this. Like, I mean, this alone is very impressive. Like, if you keep repeating this, it's still going to be impressive. But to hear directly from you, like the vision that you have, you're not even done planning this one yet, but you're already like, oh, what's the future? And I think that shows your dedication and the bright future that this one has. So yeah, guys, it's a very, very big event. And you mentioned earlier, or we were talking about earlier, that it's going to be streamed live so people can be participating. But I'm still getting a few questions from the community as to how they can join. So can you give us like a quick rundown again, if you don't mind, for everyone who's still asking? So Charimaya is leading that one. And that, could you please clarify if there are any sorry, not this one. Wait, let me hear from Feisty. Can you guide me through the steps in obtaining a ticket for the upcoming global conference? There a limit to the number of people who can and can't attend?
Yeah, there's no limit. It's open and free for everybody. It's going to be live streamed on as many platforms at once. In fact, we're using a platform called Restream specifically so that a lot of our content creators can restream it on their own platform. So you're going to see this on some of the platforms of your some of the accounts of your favorite ICP people. And the tickets are free. Everything's free. The meetups are free. It's all just it belongs to all of us, and it's decentralizing for all of us. You go to ICP-CC.com. And little tidbit secret, it's already up, but it's not like I guess fully. Well, like the live stream hasn't started yet, but if you go to live.icp-cc.com, you can find full information on the DAO launch, which begins immediately following the event, pretty much on May 10th at 1500 UTC is when the proposals should kick off. I mean, it's up to the NNS ultimately, but I think that's when it's lining up. But yeah, you got the link up there, and that just it takes you to an Eventbrite. The Eventbrite is just a great way to make sure that you can get it on your calendar and that you have that link. So, for something this big and this long, you never know if maybe somebody who gave us content to add use music that was copyrighted, and YouTube could just shut us off like that, right? And at any given moment. So we have backups. And that's why we have this live.icp-cc.com, because if we ever did need to change the URL, we're going to be we're going to be on Kick, we're going to be on multiple platforms, so they can't stop it. And the button that says live now will update it if we ever have to change it. So that's why that's set up that way. So this is definitely going to happen no matter what. And if anybody out there is watching it and YouTube takes it down because they're being annoying, well, the party's not stopping. Don't worry about it.
They can't stop us. So I actually have this linked in the description box. If you guys want to check it out, if you want to check or follow the steps that Isaac mentioned and the Eventbrite, I will also be linking down below after the stream. So just refresh it after 5 minutes. So you'll be able to participate as well. So one of our viewers said that next time maybe the meetup would also be in the Philippines. I mean,
of course, we'd love to see it.
Everybody should make it happen. Yeah, we should make it happen. And there have been significant changes as well and progress since our last interview, which I would love to talk to you about after this call, or maybe like in a different time. But yeah, a lot has been changing, and I'm so happy that the Philippine ICP community has been growing, and hopefully in the next event we could also be hosting an event for you. So we have time for one more question. So do you see any question? I would like you to pick this one, the last one.
No, you can pick it, but I do want to clarify one thing, because this reminded me of something I forgot to say. Going into 2025, it's in the Constitution, and of course the Constitution can be edited and changed at any time, but it's in there that the DAO will host 2 types of events per year. One standard conference, like multi-day, single location, big conference, and one global live stream like this. And I think the reason I would like to keep the live stream kind of event is because it's much more external. It gets the word about ICP out there much more broad and more accessibly. And if you're a token holder and you live in a certain location on Earth and you can't make the big event, at least it means there's one event every year.
Part of it.
Yeah, if you're a token, if you're a member of the DAO, you want to at least have one event per year that the DAO organizes that you can be a part of. So that's to answer your question there. Thank you, Leo. I appreciate it.
And honestly, having everything up, having it live streamed and potentially immortalizing it online that anyone can access it anytime, I think that's also a game changer, because like you said, not only the geographic location could be the barrier, but so many other factors as well. Like maybe they have work and they just can't attend, or it's not financially in the cards right now, you know what I mean? So I think it's just it's honoring one of the purpose of Web3, making it accessible for everyone. So I think that's an amazing take, and it's interesting to hear that there will be 2 events. Let's see, we have time for one more question. We have to pick a good one. Okay, so this is just to highlight everything, summarize everything we talked about. So with the event hours away, what exciting insights can everyone just anticipate for the upcoming conference?
Oh gosh, I'm excited. I mean, I'm trying to pick one.
It's hard. One of my favorite.
One of my favorite talks is particularly by. I have 2. I'll tell you my 2 favorite things.
Okay.
I know it's maybe not as much insights, but like I said, most of this is just sharing news, making it digestible. But the founder talk, the founder of MeDAO, the Mars Islands DAO founder, his talk is really great, and I think it's going to open a lot of people's eyes. I think that's going to be a really good one. there's one that I actually haven't seen the footage for because I've been working so much, but I'm excited about, between Bobby O and Mike Schwartz, where Mike Schwartz is talking about Pan Industrial, like a new type of enterprise-focused accelerator that he's creating. And then the third one is goofy, but it's Alien token. So this is it's
Didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's just being done for fun, but it's a brand new meme token. 45% of the supply is being given out tomorrow. And then the Sneed DAO has 55%, and it will be using that to provide liquidity and governance Sneed rewards for over the next year. And this will be the first non-native SNS governance rewards ever given out. So they've had to invent new architecture to give this out.
Oh, wow.
Because right now, like Sneed has a fixed supply, and that's because the built-in rewards mechanism will mint new tokens to give out rewards, and they can't do that with a fixed supply. So right now, Sneed has no governance rewards, but they will after this. And it's just the whole idea of like,
it's an alpha.
Yeah, the whole idea of like a meme token or community token being launched by a DAO, so that there's no whales, there's no insiders, there's no team allocations, just ultra distributed supply from day one. Like that's just
empowering and fun.
Yeah, that's alien tech, right? It's alien. So I'm personally like I wish I had. Nobody has an allocation. Like I wish I had one, but like I'm personally going to be excited to see that take off. And yeah, I just I don't know. I nerd out about those three things.
Yeah. So all projects should be, you know, taking down notes from your event and how you're handling it. Even the online community thing. It's so interesting. So many interesting concepts. And like you said, I feel like this would definitely be, they would be taking a lot of blueprints from this, you know, down from the how you're handling the event, the airdrops, and it's crazy. It's a lot. So I love how intentional you guys are with this, you know, building the architecture and all of that and being so inclusive. So it's going to be very, very exciting. Isaac, maybe a final message to everyone who's watching. Invite them again, do whatever.
Yeah. ICP CC, it's yours now. Take care of it. Thank you.
I love it. That's the best way to end this. Isaac, always a pleasure to talk to you. And hopefully, maybe, again, you are one of the most productive people I know. I feel like the next time we're going to be interviewing, you're on here again and talking about something else, and we love to see it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being so warm to the Philippine community, always giving us time. And congratulations already to this event and the next. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Enjoy the pool party. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Ayan, guys, maraming salamat po for sending your questions and tuning in with us. I feel like usually sa lahat naman ng episodes natin, you guys are very engaging. Ang gaganda ng questions na binibigay ninyo. But ramdam ko na extra engaged kayo tonight, and we really, really appreciate it. Napakaraming questions. So, hindi ko lang na-star yung mga nag-send in ng questions, but I do have your names. Let me say them. Ayan. So we have Esther Z ICP, nagtanong about exciting insights. Feisty about the steps on how they can get the ticket. We have Samuel Jams, kung ano strategies in place to measuring long-term impact. We have Joko Jambi, biggest challenges. And Scout Martin, kung paano makaka-participate din. So again, maraming salamat po. You guys know the drill. Just message po yung ICP Twitter natin. We have them linked. Everything na nabanggit natin today is including yung social media nila and how you can claim your rewards. Link in the description, so please check that out. Maraming salamat po. Thank you everyone for joining us for the episode 45 of IC Stories. Have a great night. Bye!